Hello and welcome back to the Spirit Guide Daily, and this is the cronecast at the Rising Moon. We have the Nordic Magical deck bringing us 3 predictive cards. We're going to have the Wisdom Oracle contributing an Oracle card, and then we have the Endora Fortune Telling cards bringing us a card as well. Hey guys, before I get started, please don't forget to subscribe because it helps my channel. The only way to book me is through attherisingmoon.com, and I will never approach you in a comment section. Let's get going here. As I've been telling everybody, these will be, the Spirit Guide Daily is returning for the month of December, Monday through Friday. And then at the beginning of 2024, it is moving to a Patreon or a membership level because everybody's got to eat, and that includes me. Here we go. Let's go with the Knight of Swords and the Upright. Wow, that is swiftness, certainty, communication. This particular deck always marks it with a word, and I find this deck fascinating because it chooses a meaning that, like, it's like, really? Spontaneity, and that would normally be something that would be associated with wands. But if a deck claims something, it is meant to have validity in it, and we choose different decks and are drawn to different decks because of that. It's spontaneity. Things happening quickly as well. Impulsivity in a good way. Like impulsively changing your plans to accommodate more is one of the things as well. Knight of Swords can be air travel and like travelers coming in. It's my favorite energy. The Eight of Wands and the Knight of Swords are the fastest moving energies in the deck. It's coming out with the Ace of Swords and the Upright, which is, they mark it correctly here for me, clarity. Clarity, success, incisiveness. It's being able to have insight into your own life. Being able to see into a situation with such clarity that, like, confusion is cleared away. It's coming out with the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay, so that's an interesting one for me. The Wands in reverse, Page of Wands in reverse, can be about being upset or triggered or frustrated or angry. And I'm going to go with that here. I will, by the way, be teaching reversals in that Patreon setting and that membership setting as well. So the Page of Wands in reverse is all about, like, this particular draw is telling you you have more insight into, like, your anger, what might be frustrating you, that, like, you get that often your anger is so closely related to your fear that it's usually just your fear wearing a different mask. As a for instance, let's go ahead and take the top one from this one, Siren. A temptation may lead you astray. Very interesting. Listen, the Siren card, it's all sirens are warnings as well. So there's a little bit of an energy around that, like learning to respect your own limitations is one of the energies on this one. But a temptation may lead you astray. Hey, listen, please remember, almost as soon as, like, you're living in a healthy energy, if you've had something attached to you and feeding off your power, which happens, we've done in the spirit attachment episode, I did talk about that. Like, energies that are created, they attract something almost like a tick in the woods. And that when you're living in this clean and healthy energy, like, it doesn't mean the thing never tries to come back towards you. You just have to be able to have swift movement and incisive and insightful action taken around clarity around what your triggers are. You're just going to have to be really respectful of the stuff that kind of might have held you back in the past. We have, this is interesting, the moon. You will be guided through darkness, but then the mystic circle, your abilities will be enhanced, which is literally telling you that you have an enhanced ability to take care of your potential triggers and your potential temptations. As I'm always saying, I use myself as an example because that way nobody else gets in trouble or is hurt. And for me, I've just had terrible judgment in, like, the men that I've allowed into my life in the past. And I've been single for a good long time, and I really, really like it, and I don't see any reason to change it at any point. But it's not out of fear of picking the wrong partner any longer. It's just like, no, I'm happy. Why would I mess with that? It's stuff like that. It's being able to recognize, well, how did these things that, like, were difficult to get over, how did they happen in the first place? What role did I play? And this has been a little bit of a repeating message with this particular card set because I film these in batches, but it's not all the same message. It is like you're going to get to the point where if you used to get triggered or you used to have emotional regulation issues, you're going to be like the princess and the pea almost. Like you'll be able to look at a situation and go, I bet that's going to be really tiring for me. I better make sure that I do X, Y, and Z at the beginning of the day and X, Y, and Z at the end of the day to make sure that I'm not in a vulnerable position, that I'm not in a vulnerable energy. I will tell you honestly, one of my biggest struggles is like, and this stuff makes people angry with me, but I can't help it. What I do burns so many calories that I struggle to keep enough food in. And I don't have the best relationship to food. And so what has come down for me is needing over and over again, round and round, which is going over and over with something, a repeating process, is that I have to plan very carefully around how many calories I'm going to need because I don't enjoy eating that much. I have to be very cognizant of, okay, before you go and do that, you have to stop and eat something. And sometimes it will mean like, you know, having to pound down some French fries or something to have enough carbohydrates to have enough fuel. We have message in a bottle and then here and now. It's like something's trying to get to you right this very second. It could be a repeating energy signature, and please remember, particularly if you've had to heal from codependency, which has an attachment with it, particularly if you're a really powerful person, something tried to keep you in that energy. It will try and come back to you, and you have to like treat it as that whole thoughts come and go, emotions come and go, feelings come and go, is that it'll rise up sometimes. That's that siren energy. And you'll just have to recognize it and be like, and just let it go. Recognize it as like, that's a codependent trigger. Maybe I'm feeling lonely, maybe I'm feeling tired, maybe I've had a lot of loss recently, and so I'm thinking about things that aren't good for me. It's that type of thing, is being able to, without resentment nor judgment of self, have a good process around that is not part of a healthy energy for me, so I just let it pass by, and I don't get fixated on why is it still there, because it's not you being broken or being wounded, it's like something comes sniffing around. That's the easiest way I have of putting it. It's going to keep coming around. It'll reach out to you. It'll try and find a way back into your life. And you have to be cognizant of red flags. Even though it can mean having losses in your life, if somebody starts throwing off red flags, they don't belong in your life. You can feel as sorry as you want for them, for like having these difficulties and things that they're facing, but you can recognize that maybe people in an unhealthy energy aren't like the best partners nor friends, and that you need to have a peripheral or a tenuous connection to them, and that it's better to lose a relationship than to have an unhealthy one damage you. And it's all that kind of clarity that we're talking about. It's almost like you're being warned, hey, listen, all the stuff that you healed from, it will try to take a run at you because it wasn't just your wounds, like it really did attract something that was attached to them, and it will try and make you like produce that energy again. And that's really the way you want to look at it. Don't look at it as some horrible ugly boogly thing coming out of the dark to try and get you, but rather think of it that the idea of a tick is the easiest one, because like people they don't feel menaced by ticks. They're just like, you got to protect yourself from them, and it's that easy. It is like, yeah, you're going for a hike in the spiritual woods, and the ticks are occasionally going to come towards you, but you take the appropriate steps. You are protective of self. You are protective of self. And all of that was about, listen, you're not done with it taking runs at you, but you have all the tools, you have all the knowledge, and you have the self-awareness to prevent repeating patterns. And that's all it takes. The only cure for codependence is independence. And then the only way to stay in recovery is awareness. And it has nothing to do with remaining alone. It has to do with the awareness of the health of the connections that you do allow into your life, and being willing to cut off connections or stop connections or prevent connections that are draining or demanding or not in your best interest. And it's not about being selfish. It's about valuing self and being self-protective. That was Spirit Guide Daily for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, look for these to be moving to a Patreon or a membership because I think my podcast people are going to be going towards a Patreon, and then my YouTube channel, I'm going to have YouTube memberships just in case people don't want to switch platforms. And there'll be other things with them. Guided meditations, a couple other things. There'll be some magic lessons. There'll be monthly talks about the moon and things, like all at different membership levels. And I'm really looking forward to it. And like I said, everybody has the right to be self-sustaining. And I will always try to make sure that I have enough, that I put as much free content out there, because it drives me insane that people can't heal unless they can afford to. Because quite frequently, people don't have enough because they're not healed. And it's like we have to strike that balance of making sure that things are available for people. Anyway, that was the Spirit Guide Daily. Thanks so much for joining me. Take care. Be well.